So in the meantime, while we are backed away from our manuscript, we talked about in the meantime, readers are reading. You are holding the space as you give yourself, particularly your cognitive analytical self that has been working in particulate as you move down the funnel. Working with language can be tiring. So in the meantime, perhaps you're napping more, you're walking more, you're swimming more, you're just holding the space. Also, I mentioned earlier in this journey, and this is just holding the space. This is just a reminder to hold the space for you and for myself, because sometimes I get very excited on these videos, in case you couldn't tell, because I'm very excited about the journey that I have undertaken, sharing it with you, and then traversing a tremendous learning curve, I might share. I don't mind sharing and learning how to work these videos and increase my production values. I hope you've noticed my little slides and little tricks and things as I learn how to use these little tools of the 21st century, which I love. So I get very excited. I have to remind myself to hold the space while readers are reading. Let's talk about what happens when they're done as the feedback comes in, because this is actually uh, this is the second and last session of week 7. I need to breathe, and because I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited. I'm making these videos and changing outfits. But it's fun. So what do we do when we get the feedback? How do we take it in? How do we hold the space for the feedback that will come? How do we take that in and then apply it to the work? The first thing that is important for you to know is that you need not accept or you need not do anything with the feedback that you receive. Know that it is entirely within your control. It is entirely your choice, right? Your prerogative. What, if anything, you do with this feedback. When you get the feedback, you might get it in a variety. I don't know how you're going to get it. If somebody's distant from you, I don't know, you might Skype, you might have a conversation, whether it's by Skype, by phone, in person. Some people like to, I have someone in my life who gives me amazing feedback. She is such a deep reader. I call her an interstitial reader because you want to talk about reading between the lines, honey, that child reads between a period and a comma, okay? I mean, just a really deep, thoughtful reader. And she's really one of my primary readers at this stage of my writing life, because she, she kind of reads like 12 people and gives you all these different perspectives. And so you she likes to, I don't talk to her, she doesn't give me feedback. She likes to write. I send her a printout. I also send her a self-addressed stamped envelope, which I didn't mention last week, and I apologize for that. um, so that they're not using any of the readers are investing a lot of their time and energy on your behalf, and we want to let them know that we appreciate that and we don't take that for granted. So when I send out the manuscripts or the pieces of manuscript, I send a self-addressed stamped envelope. So all they have to do is plunk that thing in and send it. They don't have to address it. They don't have to spend any money. Okay. They do have to go to the post office because in the United States you have to for something that weighs over and I think it's however many ounces you have to go to the post office. But she likes to give me feedback written. So however it is you get the feedback, and especially if you get it in real time in person, you may know that uh, even if you're a person who takes feedback very well, I'm such a person because I've had a lot of opportunity to get it and receive it in the corporate world and in therapy and a whole bunch of other places. That no matter how experienced you are in receiving feedback, this is this it's in, it's important to hold the space for what you hear. Okay, and I'm going to assume that everyone that you have chosen is constructive in how they give you feedback. So, first of all, accept what's working because people are going to tell you, I love this, I love that about, and they're going to be very specific about what works for them. And it's important that you take that in. You don't tune that out and go right to, okay, I want to know what's wrong so I can fix it. I used to do that and I couldn't hear what was working. Hear what's working. Next, when they tell you, when they share with you what didn't work for them, just listen. Don't but and even book 10 when my friend Sophia said no, that's not what no, he wouldn't be that Machiavellian. I was like, what are you talking about? Just listen because it's like reading your work immediately after writing it. The minute you hear that feedback, it is too soon for you to have a reaction. Just take it in because how you respond to what you hear the moment you hear it will be, trust me, very different to how you respond to it 24 hours later, 48 hours later, and after you have slept. Because when you're sleeping, honey, the boys in the basement are like, yeah, okay, we got it now. We know what to do with this. Even though Gina doesn't, we know what to do. Here we go. And so be open to the good, I don't want to say good, bad, those are judgmental terms. Be open to what you are told is working. Listen and do your best to not interrupt and not defend and not react as I have and I do and I'm challenged not to. Just take it in. If three, there's something you don't understand about what you hear, or there's something you want to clarify after the person has had an opportunity to share, and hopefully they will also take some breaths and give you an opportunity to ask questions, so it's really a dialogue as opposed to two monologues back to back. Then ask questions, clarify. And while they're talking, actually, whether it's on the telephone or whether it's in person, you can be taking notes because I'm encouraging you not to interrupt them so that you can so because you don't want to cut them off at the knees when they're trying to they've done you a tremendous favor by reading your work. Please keep that top of mind. So you want to, in your behavior, not just in your words, you want to show that you appreciate that. So listen and be present. Okay. And while they're talking, you can jot notes so that you don't forget what you wanted to clarify. Uh, the other thing, number four, I want you to know about feedback as you get it, because this probably beginning of next week is when you'll start to get it. Week 8 is it is the job, if you will, of the person giving you feedback to share what works and what didn't work for them. That is why it was important for you to choose readers who are vociferous. All right, if these are people who are very timid in sharing opinions, these are not the people you want to read for you because you're gonna have to like drag it out of them. And again, that's not fun. Not having a ball if you got to drag feedback out of someone. And so assuming that all these people are vociferous, opinionated people, however opinionated constructively, um, know that it is their job to share with you what works and what doesn't work. It is not their job to solve the issue. That was a mistake I made early on with the readers when years ago when I first started writing books. There are some readers, depending on people's personalities, there are some people who are genetic problem solvers and something's not working for them and they're on it. They want to know why it's not working. And they will have reasons, in some instances, copious reasons why something is not working. And they'll have suggestions, sometimes copious suggestions for how to resolve what's not working. That's gravy. Okay, that's cherry icing whipped cream on top. Okay, with some nuts and some chocolate sauce sprinkled on it. Uh, if somebody has the kind of personality where they are inclined to give you feedback that way. However, there are some people who will just know it's not working. I don't know. I didn't feel connected to this character. I'm not. It's not his or her job. It's not the reader's job to decipher why, and it's certainly not their job to solve the challenge. That's your job. Okay. So if someone says XYZ isn't working or XYZ is working, and you say, oh, wow, well, what did you like about it? Oh, I just liked it. If they cannot deconstruct what worked or what didn't work, and if they don't have any, if they can't make any recommendations for how to resolve, let's say, a plot hole or something that they say isn't believable, that move on. That's your job. And if somebody offers it, that's for consideration. Fifth, if, as I said before in the last session, you don't have to accept any feedback that you get. You could just keep on, going as you're going. Then again, that would beg the question why you're asking people to read. So none of us is able to, not one of us is able to be completely objective about our lives and anything that emanates from our lives. That is why we need to have readers. So no matter how beautifully we write or how wonderful we feel about the chapters that we have given to our readers, we are still this close to our book, which means we can't say anything clearly. So after 24 hours, 48 hours go by, and it's probably going to happen sooner because that's my experience, the boys in the basement are working for you. They're working for you. They really are. They're working for you. But within 24 to 48 hours, then you can, if the boys in the basement will pop up with ideas and you can just write down, oh, this is how I can solve that particular issue. You don't have to do anything with it, but it's good to record it, just like when the boys in the basement give you ideas throughout this entire process. I recommend waiting 1 to 2 days after you have gotten the feedback to then put your left brain on it, your analytical adult cognitive brain, problem-solving brain on, and go, okay, all right, so Jamie said this, that, and the other thing. All right, I'm thinking the boys in the basement will probably give you a lot of, they will give you a lot of help. When I heard from my friend Sophia, truthfully, I was overwhelmed because when she told me about this main character, a lot of my plot really hinged on him being this puppeteer in the background. And I have to admit, kind of as I was writing it, I thought, I don't know how realistic that is, but I was clever enough to make it work. But again, that goes in the category of what I said during research week. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. So just hold the space, get the feedback, Listen in the same way you want people to give you feedback with care, listen with care, be appreciative. And then the boys in the basement will start talking to you. And you can decide what you want to accept or not in feedback. Know this, that if everybody tells you the same thing, it's kind of a duh opportunity, it's sort of a duh opportunity. Five people tell you the same thing, five people are seeing it more clearly than you can. If two people tell you, well, you could say, well, the other three, the majority didn't. However, if your instinct is kind of, you know, scratching at you saying, you kind of knew that when you were right. You knew something was off, but you couldn't figure it out. Well, they figured it out. So you might want to go with the two people. The point is, that's what you're, if you attempt to respond to feedback, the minute you hear it, it's all emotional, it's reactive, it's not productive. If you hold the space, boys in the basement will surface, they'll connect to your conscious brain and they'll go, ah, and the conscious brain will go, thank you guys, thanks so much. And your conscious analytical brain will be able to, after 2 days, will be able to respond and not react emotionally to what you heard. Those are some of the things to consider as the feedback is coming in. Be sure to send thank you notes. It's fine to say thank you, thank you, thank you, I appreciate, hug, or whatever, but you know what? In this world of tweeting and hurling emails over, and a handwritten thank you note signed with your beautiful signature on a nice piece of stationery or on a card that you lovingly selected goes a long way. People like to be appreciated. You like to be appreciated. So that's it, boys and girls. Next week, week 8. And then it's only a month left. We're good to go. Hey, I will see you next week. Have a good one.